Low pay is defined by the OECD as full-time workers whose earnings are below 2/3 of the country's median income. It ranges from 4.1% in Belgium, the best performer in the OECD, to 24.1% in the United States, the worst. The south of Ireland, on 23%, is the second worst of the countries in the OECD. In the north, 20.6% of workers are deemed to be on low pay, but it is calculated as a percentage of the median wage in Britain. If it was calculated as a percentage of the median wage in the south of Ireland, nearly 30% of workers in the north would be deemed to be on low pay. Half of all workers in the north earn less than £23,000 or €27,000 a year, while in the south, half of workers earn less than €28,500. Trade union density is hovering around 27% of workers. Unions are severely restricted by anti-worker legislation north and south, namely the 1990 Industrial Relations Act in the south, and in the north the Trade Union Act of 2016, along with its predecessor of 1992. Low pay, falling union density and anti-union legislation are all inextricably linked with precarious work, minimum hours, short-term contracts, the gig economy and bogus self-employment, which have all flourished as a result. If workers are to be able to fight back, the restrictions on them and unions under present legislation must go. It has broken the collective that was the trade union movement. The outlawing of solidarity action and support strikes for over 30 years has weakened class solidarity and pride in our unions. There was a time all workers were very proud to wear their union badge. Today, the sight of one on the shop floor is a rarity. What controlled employers' greed and secured workers their share in the past was union power and union density. Once unions were restricted by legislation, the race to the bottom started and membership declined. In the trade union movement, we need to ask ourselves why 3 out of every 4 workers have not joined a union. Trade unions have mostly been in defensive mode for over 30 years. This is as a direct result of Thatcherite anti-trade union legislation in the north and the 1990 Industrial Relations Act in the south. And social partnership. Industrial action is at an all-time low across the country, and too often trade unions are not at the forefront of radical campaigning, but are largely hidden in committees and lobby halls. Members need to see their unions leading the fight for their rights. The reality in Ireland is that low pay, precarious work and long waiting lists are not confined to one jurisdiction or the other. There are crossovers between where people live and where people work, and both suffer the effects of the system equally. We need an All-Ireland Workers' Rights Act to protect workers and tip the balance of power back towards workers, to enable unions and workers to fight to improve the quality of every aspect of workers' lives. A pay rise, although welcome, eases the economic burden on workers, but it does not give them power. A Workers' Rights Act will. An All-Ireland Workers' Rights Act to include the right to union recognition for all workers, the right to union access for all workers, right for individual workers must be restored, full collective bargaining rights for all workers, the ban on solidarity and secondary picketing must be abolished, the ban on political strikes must go, the ban on sit-ins and occupations must be abolished. Decisions must be left to the trade unions on notice periods for industrial action and the running of ballots. Any action taken in a dispute, provided it is not illegal in itself, must be free from criminal and civil liability. Trade unions must be radical or they will become redundant. The Dublin Council of Trade Unions have put forward the following motion for the ICTU Biennial Delegates Conference at the end of the month in Belfast. Conference recognises that the restrictions on trade union action in the 1990 Industrial Act needs to be opposed, and the Act should be replaced or reformed to restore the rights which trade unions had before 1990. Conference mandates the Executive to seek an alternative legislative regime which would allow trade unions and industrial action for individual workers, for issues that concern workers across society and across employers, and for effective solidarity to workers in dispute. Until unions get back to basics and are seen to be at the forefront of workers' struggle, membership will continue to decline. Let's hope the delegates at the ICTU conference see the writing on the wall and pass this very important motion. Or 20 years from now, children will be asking, "Daddy, what is a trade union? and those children will be on poverty wages, living from hand to mouth and struggling to survive. It is in the interest of all workers and the trade union movement that the Dublin Council of Trade Unions motion gets the overwhelming support of delegates. The concern of one is the concern of all.